Good morning, this is Jack from theartchart.net, and this is the pre-market recording for Thursday, the 6th of September. I'm experimenting with earlier times today for a number of reasons, mainly though because GoToWebinar is taking forever to encode the videos at the moment. So I'm getting them, unless you're watching it live, I'm getting them posted later. So this is an effort to try and push this back so I can get it posted every day before the open. So we shall see. This is also an assessment of seeing how many people are up, a surprising number. So not a bad way to start. Let's start with ES. Now, ES, we're now on a 60-minute buy signal. I suspect tariff news permitting that we're actually fairly close to a low, and we have a fairly clear flag. This is not as clear as the SPX version, which we'll be coming to, but this is. And this gives us space to get back over the weekly pivot. In practical terms, I think 2900 likely needs to hold as resistance. Or we are likely to be heading straight back to the high. We could have made the low yesterday, but I'll come to that when I come to the SPX chart. Now, NQ. NQ had a pretty hard breakdown yesterday. Remarkably, it still hasn't actually reached the full target on the NDX 60-minute RSI 14 sell signal, but it's got pretty close. We've got no positive divergence here. That has me leaning towards a retest of this low. If we see a retest of this low, then it's possible it's going to be heading towards the rising support trend line in the 74.37 area at the moment, and that has to be borne in mind as a possible support target. I'm not seeing a compelling reason for it to reach it. We didn't reach the obvious resistance trend line on the last move up, and that means we don't need to reach the support trend line. It's not unfinished business below, but in the event that we get close to it, that's the support I will be looking at. Right, let's have a look at the index charts. SPX. This is the SPX chart. Now, this is up on the move up from 2800. We've got a beautiful wedge there. It's broken down. We've got a clear bull flag forming. It's a bull flag megaphone. It's nice. So far, we've not managed to fill that gap, which actually goes a little lower. I've drawn in the sort of effectively the island, but it does go a little lower than that. To fill that gap, we would need to reach the head and shoulder target, which I've got in the 2872/3 area, and of course main support is the monthly pivot at 2870 on ES. What are our chances of doing another leg down? Pretty good, as long as that trend line holds. That trend line, obviously, we need to not see a significant gap up today. If we do see a significant gap up today, then that flag will be breaking up. We will likely be in a bottoming process. We might then see a retest in the lower low, but it would likely be marginal. That could nonetheless deliver our monthly pivot retest, because that we came pretty close to that yesterday. A marginal lower low would do it, but once that breaks up, you can't count on that lower low. So I would ideally like to see that not break up at the open. We go lower, and then we make a low probably at that trend line in the absence of news, and we break up. That trend line also gets us to the 38.2% fib retracement at 2872.81, which is the minimum 38.2% retracement on a break of a wedge of this kind. Doesn't always make it, but usually will. Right, let's have a look at the SPX 60-minute chart. We've still got some life left in this RSI 14 sell signal. Does it have to go lower? No, but it usually would. Ideally, if we get some news, if we get a real push down today, if that megaphone breaks down, then we could still make it to the ideal target, which would be this trend line here. I've now got that in the 2850 area. It was not an awful lot further, but it would require the current flag to break down. And normally, obviously, they break up. So I'm not counting on that being reached. That would be the ideal target. It would be the nicest and the easiest to trade if we came down to this trend line and reversed there. That would give us a very nice upside target, a good idea on timings. It would be a great thing for a number of reasons. As it is, wherever this lands, I may get a secondary pattern which will help guide the way, but ideally it would head there. Okay, let's have a look at RUT. Now, RUT, again, we've got an hourly RSI 14 sell signal. Again, that has not made target. We've got a possible head and shoulders forming here, but that's probably for a deeper retracement than we are likely to see. With the obvious trendline support, if we reach it, and again, there is no need to actually reach it, but in the event that we did reach it, that would be currently in about the 1690s to 91 area. Right, NDX. Let's have a look at that. NDX, here we've got the early RSI 14 sell signal. It had a weaker day than the others yesterday, and we've reached the possible near miss target on that sell signal. We haven't got positive divergence yet. I'd be leaning towards a retest of yesterday's low at the minimum, and obviously you can see the main trend line support below. All right, let's go on to the other instruments. There's some very interesting setup to show you on DX, but I'll go through the others first. CL. CL, we've got a possible 60-minute buy signal brewing. I'm wondering about a rally here. Obvious resistance at the weekly pivot at 69.5. Possible back test a bit higher of broken rising wedge support. We've not yet. No, we have made the minimum 38.2% fib retracement. Potentially, we could be looking for a low here. We could equally also, in the event of a muted bounce, and this would be the option I would favour because we are expecting this to go down. I'm thinking we may well form a right shoulder here. If we see a bounce back to weekly pivot area or slightly below, and then a fail there, then that gives us a head and shoulders, which should get us down to the 65s. That's what I would like to see here, and that's what I'm leaning towards seeing happening here. I think that positive divergence is probably going to play out. We could head straight down. There's no obvious topping pattern to do it, and the right shoulder would be undersized on the head and shoulder at the moment. They should really kick around for a few more hours, go a bit higher, and then go down. Okay, NG. NG broke the first trend line, which I've no longer got marked on there. I've got another trend line, possible support trend line, established at yesterday's low. We're still on 60-minute buy signal, but that 60-minute buy signal fixed before, obviously, this last move down. So, you know, it's weaker. It's a weaker setup for that, but I think we are looking for a rally. I think Stan's thinking that as long as it holds below 2.85, then it's all good, and that's where yesterday's high was. So I think really we'd be looking for no more than a test of that level and down. I think Stan's looking for 276. We've on this leg where we've come pretty close to it. We might go down a bit further, but it's a pretty nice looking support trend line, and it may well hold. We shall see. Sorry. GC. Nice bull flag channel here. That has broken up. The obvious lean is towards a retest of 1220. That could, that needs to be taken in the context of what's happening on DX, which is very interesting one way or the other, heading straight back to recent lows or retesting the recent highs. But I'll come to that. But this is if we go and retest 1220, there's a pretty good chance that will be the second high of a short-term double top, unless we see a hard breakdown on DX here, which might happen. SI. Lower low here, no current divergence, leaning towards a retest of this low. We are pretty close to a retest of the the bear market low in the, I think, 1365 area. And I'm wondering whether that will need to be made. And I've got a possible setup on DX, which would suggest it would be made. HG, nice rally here. The week 6-minute buy signal reached target. I am wondering about a possible pullback if it's going higher to form the right shoulder on IHS, but really I'd like to see a full retest of this low, and we haven't got one yet. We do have fixed daily buy signals already, and they haven't made target yet. Okay, ZB. ZB looks like it's bottoming here. It's not a particularly pretty double bottom. Might need another retest of the low. I do apologise. It might need another retest of the low. We are on a 60-minute buy signal, and we shall see how it goes. We are expecting a reversal here. This looks like a bull flag that has formed. We're only a bit below the 50%. Pretty much ideal. Looking for this to turn back up. DX. This is a very interesting setup. Now, on the bear side, we've got a possible head and shoulders already formed and breaking down, or it is forming a right shoulder now on a slightly downsloping version. But there is a bigger picture to be aware of. This is all a potential IHS forming. Sorry. The IHS right shoulder, ideal right shoulder low would be at the weekly pivot. We have reached the weekly pivot. If we find support here and we head straight back up to the mid-95s, then this IHS is very much going to be in play, and on a sustained break back over about 95.70, we'd be looking at a retest of the recent high at 96.87. That could happen. If it does happen, then that's going to push metals lower, and that would probably get silver to the retest of the bear market low, which is the obvious target for it on the bigger picture chart. The other option is that we go up, we complete this IHS with a move back to here, we break up slightly, and then we do a Janus flag rejection right back into this low and likely lower. That would probably be my preferred option. It might give us that silver retest and the retest of the low on gold. So I'll be watching this with great interest. Now, the Euro chart is suggesting, because this is a pretty nice looking flag, but the flag resistance is unproven. If we go up and we break up beyond 1.1675, then chances are we got a flag that's breaking up here, and it's going to head straight back to the previous highs. If that happens, DX is going to head back to the previous lows. They are in inverse lockstep to a very, very significant degree, because the euro is something like 57% or 56% of the US dollar index, so they have to be in lockstep to a large degree. Watching that with interest. Obviously, this is suggesting the DX setup is going to break down, and very possibly break down directly. Going to be watching that with great interest today. USD JPY, pretty close to a retest of this high. A 60-minute sell signal has fixed. We're testing support at the weekly pivot. We've got the monthly pivot below. At the moment, I'm leaning towards seeing those hold and a retest of this high, which is what we would see if we see DX spike up today in all probability. USD CAD, this looks like thrust up and a flag forming. I'm still leaning towards, well, as on the bigger picture, this may well be a bull flag breaking up, and if that is a bull flag, then we're going to go back and retest this high in all probability. It's not set in stone yet, but so far this is thrust flag, and we get another thrust. So the obvious read here is that actually that is what's happening at the moment. We could just make a marginal higher high here. That would set up some negative divergence and then drop from there. The obvious read would be heading up to this target there. That would also be supportive of DX going up here, at least to complete that right shoulder. Right, Australian dollar, we're still on a weak 60-minute buy signal. We've still got a potential double bottom here. I've not drawn that in. That's got resistance here. It's smaller. It gets us up a bit beyond the monthly pivot. I'm not got a strong directional bias here, but I like the long side better than I like the short side. Okay, KC, I've got a beautiful potential double bottom here, and we are returning at the moment to double bottom resistance. That is crossing declining resistance from the highs. I've got that slightly under 1.075, and a sustained break above would give us a move back to the 1.155 area. We shall see. I think I really like this setup. We've got some positive divergence on it on the daily chart. I like this to go up. So at the moment, this is a candidate low, and it might last a while. SB, we've got an IHS which is broken up with a target in the 1120 area. In addition to that, we've also got a beautiful channel here. And I marked this in last night after we've made this high, and at the moment that's being respected, and we're heading back to channel support. I've got that at about the same level as the monthly pivot at the moment. So we've got this double support here, monthly pivot, weekly pivot, that needs to hold. If that's the case, then I'm still thinking we're going to make this this target here. We do have a possible 60-minute sell signal brewing, so if we have a break and conversion of the monthly pivot, weekly pivot, double support, then we could head directly down. CC, I've looked on the bigger picture. My overall trend line has not been hit. We got closer to it yesterday. I think another leg a bit higher, maybe to only 23.85 rather than the full retest of this high would probably hit my target trend line. Again, watching that with interest. Wheat. If this low holds, this is a very nice nested double bottom setup here. We're leaning long on cycles. This would be the smaller double bottom. This would be the larger double bottom. The overall setup would get us back to about the 578 area. And from there, we'd be likely to continue on to retest this high and higher. I think Stan's target is 620 or 630. I like the week long. Corn, we've seen a lot of resistance in the monthly pivot. That may not continue to be the case. If it doesn't continue to be the case, then I've got the obvious target trend line, and declining resistance is in the 371 area. If it continues to be respected, then we may well head directly down to a retest this low. We've already made target on the 4-hour buy signal, but we have not yet made it on the soy. Soy could still be forming an IHS here. I've still got an open 4-hour buy signal, which has not reached the possible near miss target, and we shall see. I think I like the upside here on soy more than I like the downside. The RSI is supporting it. This is a decent looking potential IHS forming here. All it needs to do is break and convert 851 and sustain the break above it, and we can see a decent move, which should get us back up into at least the 870s. So we shall see. All right, great. I'm going to stop the recording there. Take